All right, we're going to go ahead and get started, everyone. This is Joe Esty again, for those of you that missed it. I want to thank you guys for joining us here at Paradiso Presents, especially for those that had attended our workshop a little while back. Of course, many of us know, but Paradiso Presents is dedicated to helping out Journey Found, which is an organization that focuses on improving the quality of life and personal development for individuals with mental impairments or personal developmental issues. So we greatly appreciate your support, and with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started today. So we're going to be focusing on hashtagging keywords and backlinking domains. My contact information will be available at the end of the slideshow if anybody wants to get in touch with me and talk about things further. And if anyone has any questions along the way, by all means, feel free to send me questions within the GoToWebinar chat. Alrighty. So first, let's go ahead and review the art of hashtagging. First, in order to discuss our strategy behind hashtags, I want to give a brief introduction as to what exactly hashtags are and what their function is. So basically, they are a popular tool online. They're used on multiple social media networks, and they, generally speaking, are a way to organize your content online. Usually, they're a keyword or phrase, with no spaces, of course, that follow the pound or hash sign. It looks like a number sign on our phone there. That allows users to sort their content while they're making their posts and spreading their content online. It also allows users to search for content online using hashtags as a search keyword or phrase. Basically, the way I like to describe hashtags is, if you think about the internet as a filing cabinet, there would be many different folders within this filing cabinet that would help to sort out how things are organized online. And each of those folders would be a hashtag, so to speak. So when you open up that one folder that has the hashtag, for instance, hashtag flags from Paradiso Insurance, you would see only the content that relates to that specific hashtag. So if you were looking up flags from Paradiso Insurance, the hashtag, you'd see pictures of our staff with our Red Friday t-shirts, pictures of our Flag Day campaigns, and pictures of our customers with their t-shirts and flags that they were handed, we handed out to them at our agency's get-together. So we're going to take a look at a few examples of hashtags on different social media networks. The first one is a screenshot of Twitter on the left. We have a couple of hashtags here: homeowners and hashtag homeowners and hashtag insurance. This helps our content get a little bit more traction. For people that would be looking for homeowners insurance on social media, this post would come up for them. Then we have a couple screenshots of our Instagram page on the right-hand side of this slide. You can see what our post looks like in the first screenshot. And in the second screenshot, you can see our hashtags, which are actually separated from the main description of our post. The reason that we do that is it helps us, get more hashtags out without looking spammy. For those of us who are familiar with hashtags already, you can see there's a few dots separating the description of our post, and then we actually have a bunch of hashtags that we like to include on Instagram. We want to include each of those individual hashtags because if people are looking, you can see on the screenshot we have hashtag Marine Corps, hashtag military, hashtag thankful. For anyone that's on Instagram and wants to browse, let's say Marine Corps content, or they want to browse military content, anytime they look up those keywords or phrases, our post is going to show up because we decided to include that hashtag. The reason that we include the dots in between the hashtag and the post description is because when you're simply browsing Instagram and you have your news feed full of posts showing up, the only thing that Instagram will actually display while you're simply scrolling is the first portion of the post, being the description. And once it gets to those dots, it usually says read more with an ellipses. And once you click on read more, you'll be able to see the rest of our post. But we try to strategically hide our hashtags so it doesn't look like we're trying to spam our audience with hashtags or desperate to get the extra traction. Instead, they just see the post description while they're scrolling through their newsfeed. Next up, we have another example from our agency's Twitter page. We can see on the screenshot on the left here, we have hashtag Paradiso Insurance. This would be an example of a custom hashtag, which we'll talk about in a little bit. This is a hashtag that our agency created that we include on some of our posts to help organize our content online as well. And then you can see on Instagram, these are a couple of screenshots of what searching for hashtags might look like from a user's end. So on the right here, we have a search for #VeteransDay, and Instagram there, goes ahead and does a search, and they yield all of the results that have Veterans Day hashtag included on the posts that people are pushing out online. So when you're searching for hashtags online, whether you're a user or you're a marketer or an insurance agent, you'll see posts from all sorts of users that are outside of your network. So we want the users who are our customers, clients, and potential prospects to be searching for our hashtags that we include on our posts. That way, people who are outside of our network can still discover our agency's content. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the strategy behind using these hashtags. Now that we have a basic understanding and a brief introduction to hashtag, we can start thinking about how we're going to use them to benefit our agency the most on social media networks. So it's important to note that certain hashtags have different functions, and we're going to talk about each of those individual functions as well as how hashtags behave on each of the individual social media networks that our agency, Paradiso Insurance, chooses to engage with on a daily basis. So first, let's talk about the functions of hashtags. On this next slide, you can see I've separated hashtags into two primary categories, one being trending and popular hashtags, and another one is custom hashtags. With trending and popular hashtags, these are hashtags that are, they're really popular online, they're getting a lot of traction, and when you search for them, you're going to see a ton of posts because they have become popular with whatever social network that the audience is on. So when you're using trending or popular hashtags, they generally speaking are used to increase your visibility on your posts because a lot of people are posting about it online. Therefore, if people are posting about it, people are also searching for them. So if people are searching for these hashtags, you want to include them on your posts to get more traction. They're also discoverable online. They're usually made by users' posts in mass audiences, meaning that hashtags only get to be trending or popular after many people start to include them in their posts. They start to pick up a lot of traction and they get seen by more eyes that way. And then Twitter and other social media networks can actually label them as trending, and hashtags can even show up on the front page for everyone who uses the platform. And then last but not least, they help you to figure out what is best to post about that would be relevant to your audience. If you have a good idea of what hashtags are trending and popular already with your audience, then you can actually use that to help your content strategy. So for instance, if you see a whole lot of users posting about Veterans Day, hashtag Veterans Day, that was one that we just had recently a little while back here, it would be a great idea for your agency to post with Veterans Day content and use the hashtag Veterans Day as well. That way your audience, when they go online and they go to search for content that they enjoy, your content will show up as well. Now with custom hashtags, this is a little bit different. These are essentially hashtags that are created in-house by you and your agency, and they are created to help separate or organize your posts, so to speak. Just like with that filing cabinet theory I talked to you guys about earlier, whenever you create a custom hashtag, for instance, one of our big custom hashtags here at our agency is hashtag flags from Paradiso INS. Whenever you search for that custom hashtag, there's not going to be any other agencies, businesses, or other people for that matter who have come up with this hashtag because it specifically pertains to our agency and our agency's events. So anytime that we use that hashtag to post, we can very easily go back online and find our other posts from hashtag flags from Paradiso INS by simply searching for that hashtag online. So these are used to drive traction to campaign-specific posts. What I mean by that is then after your agency starts using your custom hashtags within your posts, then you can call your audience to post about them as well. So what we did is we handed away free American flags and t-shirts on Flag Day and then asked for people to post saying, hey, if you guys are so kind, could you go on to your favorite social media networks, post your pictures of your flags, post pictures of your t-shirts with your family and friends, and just use our hashtag flags from Paradiso INS so that way we can see your brilliant content as well. We even took the time to include the hashtag on the back of the t-shirts that we gave away. This way people wouldn't forget what we're looking for when we go online as well. So they can be used as a call to action for your audience, the way I just described. Again, they're created in-house by you and your agency, and usually it helps to create a content library for your agency's online campaigns. So the other thing I wanted to mention here is that generally speaking, you want to have a creative hashtag that's also easy to remember. And we'll get into that in a little bit once we talk more about custom hashtags. Now, let's talk a little bit more about trending and popular hashtags before we dive in on custom hashtags. Here we have a couple of screenshots of our agency's Twitter as well as Paradiso Presents Twitter, and we're using a couple of trending and popular hashtags to get our content more traction. So as we mentioned earlier with the homeowners insurance screenshot, if someone were to go online and look for homeowners insurance that were close by to our agency, we've done a ton of posts using these hashtags at this point, and we've tackled multiple social media networks with this hashtag, including Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. And if people were to search for these hashtags online, our agency would definitely show up. Now when we're looking at the Paradiso Presents post over here on the right, we did a post a little while back on October 31st, which was a Tuesday. We said today's about giving back. It's Charity Tuesday. First 5 people who private message me get a free copy. And we used hashtags that was specifically to appeal to the Paradiso Presents audience, because we know that we have 2 separate audiences with Paradiso Insurance and Paradiso Presents. The hashtag strategy is slightly different, but still follows the same fundamentals. So on the left, we used homeowners insurance because we know people that would be in our clientele base would be looking for that sort of thing. But on the right, we used hashtags such as Giving Back, Charity Tuesday, Insurance Magazine, and Marketing Magazine, in case there are any agents who are roaming the web that are looking for an insurance or marketing magazine. But we also want to let people know that we're involved in giving back to our audience. And for people that are interested in charity campaigns who are searching Twitter, they may see our Charity Tuesday hashtag as well. So we're sort of like touching 2 audiences by using multiple hashtags on that post. Next up. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how you can discover trending and popular hashtags. They're of course important to use on your posts to get the most traction you possibly can with your online audience. But now we're going to talk about how you can discover what would be the right hashtags to include on your posts in order to make sure you're using the most trending or most popular tags. When you first log into Twitter, you'll actually see on the left-hand side of your homepage these new trending tags on the left here. On the left-hand screenshot, what I have is New Haven trends. New Haven is close by to us within Connecticut. You can change your location within your Twitter account by just simply clicking the change button next to where it says New Haven Trends. It would probably say something different for you, but you can just simply click that blue change link in order to edit your location. And then you can actually see what is trending nearby where you live. That'll help you connect with your audience and see what they may be posting about online. You can also search other locations though, so even though if you have your default location set to one specific location, you can just go ahead where it says trends on the homepage as well. I have included the screenshot on the right. You can just search for other locations and you'll see what's trending in different areas as well. This is especially important for insurance agencies that write in multiple states. We actually write in 38 states, so we're not just looking for what's important to Connecticut, but important to the other areas that we insure as well. Next up, this is a website called Hashtags.org, which you can also use to discover trending hashtags. What Hashtags.org does is it basically supplies data collected from multiple social media networks about how hashtags are performing online. So if you're looking for hashtags specifically that'll help one campaign, like let's say you're posting about life insurance, what you could do is search on the upper hand search bar, you can type in hashtags that you'd like to look for and then see how much traction they're getting online with data and metrics associated with that specific hashtag. So what I would do in that case is I would search for hashtag life insurance, hashtag life, and hashtag insurance separately. I would also search for hashtag life insurance CT since I live in Connecticut and things like that. Whatever hashtags have the most traction with that specific subject, that's the ones I would end up using just to make sure we have the most eyes as possible viewing our content. Next up, here's another website that I like to use for looking for trending or popular hashtags. This one is called HashtagFi, and basically it does the same basic function as the first website that we mentioned, hashtags.org, but it does provide a little bit more data about the hashtag, whether it's the popularity, recent popularity, monthly trends, and things like that. So it helps if you're not exactly sure what the data that you got from hashtags.org, or if you start with HashtagFi, I would just use a combination of the both to make sure that you have the best strategy moving forward. And what we did is we actually decided on individual hashtags for multiple campaigns. We sat down and figured all of this out and decided what the best traction we could get using which specific hashtags moving forward. So when it came to life insurance, we found the best life insurance tags, wrote them on our list. Then we looked at homeowners insurance, found the best hashtags, and moved on, and so on and so forth. So we have a collection of hashtags that we use at our office that we are going to, focus a lot of our content around, but we also make sure to include them on our posts so that way they get the most traction online. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about custom hashtags now that we've reviewed the trending and popular hashtags. These, again, are to help sort your content online. So anytime you use a custom hashtag, you can easily go online and therefore find your content later on. And also you can use your custom hashtags as a call to action, the way we have with our Flags from Paradiso insurance campaign. So here's a couple of posts that you would see when you search for Flags from Paradiso insurance. We have a customer that we retweeted that was my beautiful new flag, thank you Paradiso Insurance. We thought that was awesome, and by handing away the flags and telling people, if you had the time, or if you'd be so kind and you'd post to your social media, they came online and they did just that because they appreciated everything our agency did for them that day. And then we have a post from our agency as well with one of our customers who is a veteran holding up our flag. We thought it was an awesome picture. We had to share it. So we used hashtag veterans, which is a trending hashtag that got us more traction on the post. But then we made sure to include our custom hashtag, Flags from Paradiso INS, so that way we can find our post later on and it goes into our content library online. The next thing we did is we were looking for things like check-ins and more engagement from our audience. So again, we were sure, as I mentioned, to include our hashtag on the bottom of our t-shirt. The t-shirt says, "I stand for the flag and kneel for the fallen," and right underneath that, it's a little bit blurry, but it says hashtag Flags from Paradiso INS. So what we do here is, this is sort of like an ongoing campaign now. We specifically got our t-shirts printed on red t-shirts because we have a huge campaign that we support called Red Fridays, red standing for Remember Everyone Deployed, in an effort to remember our veterans, whether they're still serving or no longer serving. But every Friday our agency wears red in honor of our veterans. So we use the hashtag Red Friday because that's a trending hashtag online to show our support for the campaign. But then we use Flags from Paradiso Insurance hashtag as a way to, again, sort our content. And then, of course, the same thing on the right here. We're super excited that we got a lot of a lot of photos hitting our social media with our custom hashtag, as well as pictures from our customers. It's an awesome way to sort of like get an online referral by them showing that they support our agency not only as a customer but also in our campaigns and our efforts to support our troops here. They're really giving their seal of approval for our business. So it's a great way to not only get the name out and get the word out about your agency, but also get some extra traction online for your campaigns that you're working on as well, especially with the custom hashtags. Next, let's talk about how hashtags perform on individual social media networks. They do work a little bit differently for each social media network, so I'd like to dive in here. With Facebook, we actually try to use no hashtags. The reason being is because, generally speaking, when people log onto Facebook, they're there to either connect with friends and sometimes businesses that they appreciate, whether it's the brand or the business itself. When they see things like hashtags, hashtags didn't start on Facebook. So generally speaking, the audience that is on this social media network doesn't expect to see them. So when Facebook had introduced hashtag support a couple years back, the network itself and the users didn't take that well to using them. So generally speaking, now if people see hashtags on Facebook, they think it's some sort of advertisement or spam. In order to avoid pushing your customers away with that mindset, it's best not to include hashtags on this social media network. Next, on Google+, we like to shoot for 2 hashtags per post 3 at the very max. If it's any more than that, it starts to feel a little bit spammy. But other than that, I think it's a great way to get some more traction on your Google Plus posts as well. With Instagram, we use 11 hashtags. Now, again, the only reason that this doesn't come off as spammy is because I talked about it earlier. We have a way of hiding our hashtags on Instagram by using those extra dots there between our post description and then the collection of hashtags. And we found that 11 or more hashtags actually brings us the most traction on our Instagram posts. If anyone does have questions about our Instagram strategy, by all means, please feel free to reach out to me once the segment's over here. Next, we have Pinterest. This one is actually user preference. And the only reason I say that is because, well, it's actually really interesting, but we did a lot of research and we found out that posts that include hashtags and posts that don't include hashtags somehow receive the same amount of visibility. So hashtags don't really affect the visibility as far as your posts go. If you're doing something like a custom hashtag, like if I was posting a post about our Flags from Paradiso insurance campaign, by all means, I would absolutely include it. That'll help me as a marketer find our posts later on if I need to retrieve them for some reason or another, and also reminds our audience to say, hey, we do have this awesome campaign going on. So if you see this hashtag, by all means, feel free to share your content with the hashtag as well. And actually, while I'm on that subject, I know I said there was 0 for Facebook and 0 for LinkedIn. I would say that the only good time to use hashtags for either of those networks is if you're using a custom hashtag as well. But in that case, definitely don't go over 1 per post. An example of how I would use a hashtag on Facebook would say, hey, I hope everyone had a great time at our Flag Day event. If you have pictures of your flag and or t-shirt that you'd like to share, by all means, feel free and make sure to use that hashtag, hashtag Flags from Paradiso INS. That way our marketing team can see your awesome content when you post it. In that case, you're making a reference to a hashtag, so you're not actually pushing the visibility on it, and your audience will know that it's not spam because you specified it in your post. So next up, let's look at Twitter. We like to shoot for a sweet spot of 2, again, 3 maximum. Same theory behind Google+. Hashtags are a great way to drive visibility on your content on these social networks, but just be sure to make sure you're not coming off as desperate or spammy to your audience online. Lastly is LinkedIn. I wrote 0 for this one, and this is because LinkedIn actually does not support the use of hashtags. I haven't checked recently, but that was the case a little while ago, and it was a matter of the platform didn't support hashtags, as in they didn't make them clickable links when you included them in your post, but also it does not help your visibility. And generally speaking, users on this network have the same mindset of users on Facebook. It was never originally part of their platform, so they don't like to see it incorporated within the posts. So that gives a basic strategy behind hashtags, what they do, what they're for, and how they function online. If anybody has questions, by all means, feel free to ask. Up next, we're going to review keywords briefly. First things first, what are keywords exactly? Keywords are basically words or phrases that are used online about specific ideas and topics that help define what your content is about. If you have the right strategy going in, keywords can really help your agency's website show up a bit easier in search results because they help strengthen your SEO, otherwise known as search engine optimization online. This is basically how you rank on Google. So if someone were to search for insurance in Stafford, CT, that's where our insurance agency is located, they will see Paradiso Insurance show up on the first page because we have done a great job at focusing on our SEO over the last few years here. But then you'll see some other agencies trickling down the search results as well. And you're always striving to be that first result. It's always a competition. It's an ongoing daily competition to be on the top of Google search results. So we're looking at keywords as part of our strategy to help how we rank online. So for example, if you were to write a blog about boat insurance and you use the phrase boat insurance throughout your blog as your keyword and your focus keyword or phrase, you would be more likely to show up on a local Google search result that included the phrase boat insurance. So if someone were to type boat insurance CT, they would see Paradiso Insurance come up because we wrote blogs on that in the past. Where can keywords be used? So this is an interesting one. you actually want to focus the most on keywords within your agency's blog. If you're not started with a blog already, there's no problem there. We do have a ton of articles about blogging, as well as I believe I put on a past webinar about blogging. Feel free to reach out to me if you'd like access to that information. But in your blog, you want to include these keywords within your blog title, your meta description, which a meta description is the information that Google displays in black and white text, which I can actually show you guys really quick. This is what the meta description would look like if we were to type Paradiso insurance into Google. The meta description is the gray text, and I'm sorry, it's all of this text that shows up right here when you have a search result. The first line is the title of the page, the next is the URL, and then this is the rest of the metadata, these gray letters here. It's a quick description of what the page or website entails. So with all that in mind, we can, excuse me here 1 second, folks. I'm just going to get us back up to speed from where we were. So with this in mind about the meta description, you actually want to include your keywords on all of those parts of your blog, the title, meta description, URL, and the body. This is because when Google updates SEO, every 18 hours they go through and scan the internet to see what websites are performing the best and what websites may not be. And then they update their search result rankings accordingly. So when they're doing their scan and sweeping your website to see how your SEO should rank, they do scan all parts of your blog or your web pages, so your titles, meta descriptions, URLs, to see if they have the right keywords. And there's a whole lot more that goes into SEO beyond just keywords, but for now, this is what we're focusing on. So you'll also want to include your keywords on your social media campaigns, your profile descriptions, and any other pages of your website outside of your blog where you think it's relevant that you want people landing on. We have a few do's and don'ts behind keywords to help your agency's online ranking and how it affects your SEO online. A few good habits to have with keywords. Be sure to always use keywords whenever you find a good opportunity to. This doesn't mean you want to keyword stuff. Over here on the right, I have a don't that says don't force keywords by keyword stuffing within your content. Keyword stuffing is basically when you essentially come off spammy with a keyword or phrase. So if I wrote a blog about boating insurance and I said, the first few sentences were, have you gotten started with your boating insurance? Boating insurance isn't held by everybody, but boating insurance is critical to keeping your boating license and boating protected properly. Again, I don't know if it's critical for keeping a license per se, but if you just sat there and said boating insurance, boating insurance, boating insurance, your entire blog, Google will say, all right, you are clearly keyword stuffing. This is coming off as spammy, and we're going to hurt your rank for doing that. So you don't want to do that. A couple of other good habits to have with keywords: include keywords in image files and or alt texts. Alt text is actually what you do is we actually use WordPress as our online hosting platform. And anytime that we upload an image, we have options or properties that we can work on the image with within our blog or web pages. And if you go to the options or properties on each image individually, there's a portion or a little block called alt text. And what alt text does is for browsers that don't display the image properly, they'll display the alt text instead. So that means if I had a picture that had umbrella insurance and I set the alt text to say umbrella insurance photo, if the picture didn't load properly for one reason or another, then the alt text would display instead. So you'd see umbrella insurance photo.jpg or .png, whatever the file format would be. The other place where alt text comes into play is for people that have vision impairments. They choose to browse specifically with alt text because they might have a hard time seeing what the photos are, and the alt text gives them an idea of what the photo would be in place of the photo itself. So Google does look for alt text sometimes. If you do include keywords in the image file's name itself, that before you upload the file, if you just rename it to include your keywords, then it will substitute the alt text for the file name. Another thing I would suggest is speaking to an SEO professional about planning your keywords and or phrases and editing your content to be properly SEO'd. I use I use Eddie DeMello of Agency Appeal for our SEO. He does a fantastic job. He's part of Kelly Donahue Puro's team. And what we do is essentially we talk to him about keywords if we're looking for advice on what we should be focusing our content on. But then when we finish writing our content for our blog, we actually send it to Eddie every time we write a new piece of content. And he goes through and does a quick edit and proofread and then strengthens our SEO based on the focus of the content. And he'll just he'll edit a few minor phrases and add in a few couple of other phrases. And from there, it'll have stronger SEO when it goes to our website. Lastly, look into Google AdWords and Keyword Planner. Google has a couple of tools out that are designed to essentially help you with coming up with keywords or phrases based on what type of content you are trying to post about. So you can use their free tools online to help strategize what you want to use as your keywords for specific topics or subjects. A couple of bad habits you want to avoid with keywords. Again, try not to keyword stuff because Google will notice that you're being a little bit spammy. Try not to, actually, I shouldn't say try not to, never hide keywords in your backgrounds or images. For example, if I put together a blog on life insurance and I know that the background is white, if I were to make a bunch of white text that says life insurance and stick it in the background because the background's white, the words would essentially disappear into the background and blend right in. The user would never know that they were there because both the background and the text is white. If you do that, Google knows it's there and Google will penalize you for that. And it's not fun. It actually used to be a huge SEO strategy that was all the rave back in the early 2000s, was to essentially hide keywords in backgrounds. But Google picked up on it very quickly, and now it does not help you at all. It actually hurts how you rank online very poorly. So make sure to never hide keywords in your backgrounds and or images. And again, try not to use inconsistent keywords, such as interchanging car insurance and auto insurance in the same blog or website page. If you go between auto insurance and car insurance repeatedly, it basically only gives you a little strength for each of those keywords. So sometimes you'll come up for car insurance, sometimes you'll come up for auto insurance, but what you want to do is focus on which of the two keywords has a stronger traction online and it gets searched for the most online. And then you want to just stick with that one consistent keyword or phrase, because that'll really help you with showing up in the search results. Last but not least, try not to use keywords if they don't appeal to your audience. If you're writing all about, millennial insurance, for instance, insurance for millennials, in your pieces and your audience is primarily made of 40 to 60-year-olds, you would definitely be essentially just writing the wrong subjects or topics for your audience. So be sure to write about things that will be interesting for your audience so you can use the proper keywords accordingly to show up in search. Okay, so we were pretty quick on keywords, but if anyone has questions there, again, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. And if you want to reach out to Eddie DeMello, my SEO specialist, I'd be happy to pass along his contact information as well. But next up, we're going to briefly review backlinking. Backlinking is an incoming hyperlink from one web page to another website or web page. So essentially, if you see a website like ParadisoInsurance.com, for instance, and if we on our homepage said we have all sorts of service offerings, feel free to check out our boat insurance, life insurance, health insurance, and other. Each one of those phrases could have a link in it that makes the text turn blue. That would be a backlink that leads to other pages on our website. Why are backlinks important? Backlinks help to increase your website's traffic and health, as well as heavily helps your SEO. What I mean by it helps to increase your website's traffic and health, by backlinking web pages, you're actually helping multiple metrics within your, I don't know if any of you guys use Google Analytics, but we actually use Google Analytics to track our website's metrics. And there are several things that they focus on. One is called the bounce rate, which tells us how many people show up to our website, then bounce off our website before navigating to another page. Then we also have our average session duration. It tells how long people are spent on our website. It also tells us how many individual users there are online in a given day, and multiple other metrics that we can track on our website very easily and quickly through Google Analytics. But if you include a backlink, it's going to help your bounce rate because people will be navigating through multiple pages on your website before they leave. It'll help the session duration because they'll be spending more time on your website if they're navigating multiple pages before they leave. And it'll also help your SEO because Google does scan for backlinks, credible backlinks, that is, when they are updating their SEO algorithm every 18 hours. And if you do have credible backlinks listed on your website, Google will take note of that and will reward you accordingly. So backlinking, we have a quick example within the Paradiso Insurance blog. As you can see, this is a blog about our Flag Day celebration, but we wanted to write a blog to get more visibility to our community, to get more people to our agency on Flag Day. But we have a landing page on our website dedicated to Flag Day already and our Flag Day events. So what we did is, in the first line of this blog, you can see Flag Day is right around the corner, but that Flag Day itself is actually blue. And that's a hyperlink that leads to the landing page that describes all about our agency's Flag Week events. So we made sure to include it in this blog because not only was it on the same focus, but we want to make sure that, again, we're helping our website's metrics by getting people to navigate multiple pages on our website before they leave. Here we have an example from other web pages on our website. I just wanted to make sure you guys understand that backlinking doesn't only take place within an insurance agency blog, but can take place on multiple places on your website as well. So here we let's go back to that slide. Here we have an example of our homepage, and when you get close to the bottom of our homepage, we say, let us handle your insurance. You can focus on growing. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not our homepage. This is the homepage about catering businesses. So I wanted to include one of our specific product line pages, so that way you guys can see how we use this in conjunction with our other pages with backlinks. If you land on our catering business page, we talk all about catering insurance and catering business insurance throughout the entire page. But then when you reach the bottom of the page, we have a few coverages your business can consider: workers' comp, commercial auto, and cyber liability. And each of those workers' compensation, the commercial auto, each of the text at the very top of these descriptions, we have brief descriptions describing the coverages. The words themselves, cyber liability, commercial auto, and workers' comp, those are all backlinks that lead to the pages that fully lay out what those coverages entail. So if someone were actually navigating this who is a catering business owner and they see workers' comp, they don't know a whole lot about it and they want to learn about it, they can easily click it, and it's going to help our website's metrics and of course help our SEO as well. Next up, we're going to talk about backlinking domains. This is definitely a little bit different than what we've discussed so far. Basically, you can also backlink domains or URLs to redirect to the pages of your choice. So, for instance, we have a Flag Day and Flag Week landing page set up that we included in that blog, as I mentioned. But what we do is we buy certain links or URLs through GoDaddy, which is a domain purchasing website, and then we redirect them to the pages of our choice. So what I mean by that is, if we had a landing page that was paradisoinsurance.com/flag-week, that would be essentially the whole URL. But then what I would want to do is, let's say I wanted to make a specific website URL or domain name that was dedicated to that landing page, so it wasn't paradisoinsurance.com/flag-week. What I would do is purchase the URL on GoDaddy for flags from paradisoins.com. And then what I can do is go into GoDaddy and tell GoDaddy that, hey, anytime that someone types in flags from paradisoinsurance.com, I want it to show up on I want them to land on the paradisoinsurance.com landing page for Flag Week. What this does is it strengthens the SEO of the page that you redirect it to. Google sees that there are multiple links pointing to the same page, and it does credit the user for doing so. So I know that may be a little bit confusing, but we're going to go ahead and jump on GoDaddy.com, and we're going to do a few live examples on how this whole strategy works with backlinking domains. So I'm going to go ahead and bring us over to the Paradiso Insurance GoDaddy.com account, and I'll describe to you a little bit more about what I'm talking about here. Okay, so we're on the home page. I'm signed into GoDaddy.com right now. What I'm going to do from here is, I know that we have a whole ton of links that we have already taken the time to purchase. While I'm on this subject though, I think it's critical for people to not only purchase their agency's domain name, but also any other associated agency domain names as well. So for instance, the first thing that we started with was paradisoinsurance.com, of course. And it's going to tell you this is already taken. That's because we own this link. This is our main website link. But there's going to be other links that are very similar to this one that we may want to think about purchasing as well. GoDaddy does suggest a few of them to us, such as paradisoinsurance.us, paradisoinsurance.net, and so on and so forth. But the thing about that is you can actually buy these links and then point them to your agency's main URL. So if I purchase paradisoinsurance.us, I could then add it to my GoDaddy account, go into my settings, and then tell GoDaddy that anytime anyone types in paradisoinsurance.us, I want them to land on paradisoinsurance.com. That way I have multiple URLs pointing on the same website. So we could probably show you another example. I believe paradisoins.com. That might be a good one, especially if your agency has the word insurance in it. You may want to consider buying a URL that it would be your agency's name with insurance shortened to INS. So we'll go ahead and search this one, and of course that one's taken by us as well. So what I'll do is I'll show you a few of the domains that we have purchased already in our accounts. Oh, actually, before I move on, it may also be very important for you to buy your name as well as maybe some of your employees' names and some of your kids' names, depending on how big your business is. But for instance, if you search for chrisparadiso.com, this one's going to be taken as well. Now, the interesting thing is that chrisparadiso.com is a real legitimate website. We didn't just buy the link to have the real estate. We wanted to use that URL to set up a website for Chris's personal biography. So you could, of course, do that as well, and it would you could backlink it to your agency's website, and it could help your SEO that way. But what we are focusing on right now is essentially owning our URLs, because they start off very cheap on GoDaddy. You could probably buy most URLs for somewhere between $5 and $8. But you want to buy it before someone else does, because if your competitors catch wind of the fact that you don't own your own URLs or your names or your kids' names or what have you, they could go on and buy them before you ever have a chance to. So you want to look at any possibilities of links you want to own and just make sure to buy them within GoDaddy, and then you can use them to your benefit, your own benefit later on. So I'm going to show you a little bit about managing domains on GoDaddy really quick here, with a couple of the domains that we own here at Paradiso Insurance. So we have a few employees, things like that, CT Gun Insurance, flagsfromparadiso.com. I am going to show you flagsfromparadiso.com, just to show you how I've redirected this link. And actually, I'll show you what I mean by this. If you go to flagsfromparadiso.com, it's not a... Okay, well, it looks like the redirect did work. I'm sorry, I just had a lapse in my connection there. So this is the page that you show up to, is paradisoinsurance.com/flag day. There is no website that is called flagsfromparadisoins.com, but what we did is program the URL to just go to our website if someone were to type that in. This makes it super easy for us to post about it online, super easy for us to talk about it. We just say, hey, if you want to learn about our Flag Day stuff, just go to flagsfromparadisoins.com, and they show up on our website instead. And it also will tell Google, as I mentioned before, there are multiple links that point to this one page, so this page must be important for their rankings. So I'll show you how we did that exactly. Now that we are in our domains, and to get here again, all I did was I clicked on domains at the top, and I clicked on all domains. I come down to flagsfromparadiso.com. Let's say this is the link that I want to redirect. And then I scroll down a bit. It's got all sorts of settings here. I don't need to worry about this first box. I also don't need to worry about name servers. But then we get to forwarding, and this is the important part. I wanted to forward it to this domain here. So what I did is I just clicked on the edit. I have an HTTP domain set up. That's the default. You don't really need to be concerned about the S unless there's a very specific case and your webmaster lets you know. But you want to keep it a permanent forward type, the 301. And then I just included the URL of the page that I wanted it to show up to, which is this page's URL, of course. So I put that into the box to forward it to, set it up, hit forward only, not forward with masking, and then I updated it. I checked off the box to update my name servers and DNS settings to support the change. Once you hit save, you have to wait probably about 12 to 24 hours before it takes effect. But then you can go ahead and try and type in, the original URL that you had there. Ours was flagsfromparadiso.com, and it just takes you right to the page that you wanted to redirect. So that's basically how to set up, domain forwarding in a nutshell. I know we did go through domains pretty quickly, but we had a lot to cover today. If anyone does have any more questions, or again, if you want contact information for our SEO specialist, by all means, feel free to ask me, and I'd be happy to work with you on a one-on-one basis. For now, if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them into the chat until 2 p.m. since that's what we're set up here for. But other than that, I really want to thank everyone again for joining us. Again, you help us to help many through Paradiso Presents and Journey Found organizations. So we greatly appreciate you showing up, and I'll be happy to answer questions until time is up. Thanks, everyone.